everybody. Welcome to today's AMA. That stands for Ask Me Anything. I didn't know that when I first saw that, but welcome everybody. I'm excited that you're here. This is all about you. I have no planned content whatsoever. I'm all by myself. My wife left me alone. She took my oldest daughter down to Mississippi for a soccer tournament. I'm getting text video updates though. My youngest daughter left me. She went to a swim party. So I said, shit, why not? Let's do an Ask Me Anything. So this is all about you asking questions. I'm not teaching anything. I don't have any planned content. So drop your questions in the down in the comment section. I'm going to call out Tyler Kuhn. Tyler, I see you just jumped in, buddy. How are you? What's your question? I don't know about any anticipation. I guess because of the pre-roll there. We got Ryan Bakey, one of my members of my super team. That's going to be upcoming at the boot camps here. Hi, Jan. Hi, Tyler. We got Nadia. We got Sheila. A lot of people. So first and foremost, if this is the first time that you've ever been on one of my live broadcasts, please, I want to make this personal. Just say hello down in the comments below and let me know where you're from. And then, step number 2, as you see in the post above us, is just ask a question. So I'm going to get into the very first question that was actually not posted here, but it was on the event that I created. And this is from Jennifer Cunningham. She said she can't make it, but can you talk about pricing strategies and, getting beach market bookings during slow season, short-term and also snowbird rentals? So Jennifer, the first thing I'll tell you about the beach, me personally, I've never done a snowbird. I have a property that I manage, which is a 4-2 beachfront property in Fort Morgan for a client and a mastermind member. We have a snowbird rental for half of January and half of February. It'll be the first one that I've ever taken, but here's the caveat. It's $18,000 for the booking. So I gave like a 20% discount. Most snowbirds are looking for $2, $3, $4, sub $5,000 for an entire month. I'm not down with that. Even what's happening right now, remember, I can absorb what's going on from a rental standpoint. What's not really easy to absorb is the interest rates and how that's impacting buying power, inflation. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I would not be going after snowbirds. I mean, there's specific Facebook groups and stuff like that and lead gen sites just for snowbirds. The problem is you're not going to make any money. So you think about it. You got a $700,000 property. You have a $3,000 a month mortgage. Even if it's $2,500 a month, you got cleaning costs, you got utilities, you got all the amenities, you have everything that goes into your carry costs, and you're going to let somebody stay there for $4,000 for the month. That's $1,000 a week. You should be able to, even if you're a tier 2 or a tier 3 property, be able to get $575 to $650 if you got a decent house, for a weekend, and just do a 2-night minimum and book the weekends. That's what I've done. I have never gone in and done snowbirds. Pricing strategies, I'm going to give everybody one right now. This is actually something I'd never thought of. I hosted at one of my mastermind meetings in Miami at late August. Have a gentleman named Jose Cornejo that is a member. And he actually brought this up to me. He had tested it, benchmarked it in RankBreeze, and saw bookings start to come in. So one of the things that I look at, and I did it, and he just took like one date and created a 1-night minimum. So I took it a little bit farther, and I've run tests as well. I got like 4 bookings within the first 2 days it was the first 4 days after this happened. I ended up getting 7 bookings in the first week. And my bookings have actually, I just did this after the Miami retreat, probably like maybe right before the retreat, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So here's the deal. 1-night booking, go into January, go into February, if that's your slow season. If you're coming into that as a peak season and a winter market, don't do it. Then move out farther to like May or April in your mud season. But take a slow season, go to a Monday or a Tuesday that typically doesn't book, and switch your minimum, whether you're 2 nights, 3 nights, whatever that is, switch it to a 1-night minimum. What I did is I raised the rate by 50%. So I'll just give you an example. I was having problems getting a brand new ski in, ski out property booked. It's booking for December. It's booking for January, booking for February, but I wasn't getting much in Beach Mountain, North Carolina for the fall. And it was a brand new listing. Don't even have 3 virtual stays yet. So I did it with that property, and then I started getting bookings. And it's kind of amazing what happens is at least the theory, because nobody really knows, is it's triggering the algorithm. What I did see is that my rankings started increasing, and not just for that date. It started increasing here in the September and the October dates. I needed to get booked for that property. So that's one of the tips that I would recommend. The other thing is you got to do the friendly competitor method. You can do it on STR Insights. You can do it, use the pacing tool inside of AirDNA, or you can just do that friendly competitor method and manually see where everybody is pricing. And then it's not just about price. A lot of people think that it's price. So I don't like to go in and just compete on price. I'd like to leave my pricing where it's at, and then, kill them with amenities, kill them with marketing, doing my buy, sell, trade groups, doing my Facebook ads. Most importantly, leveraging my email marketing. If you're not doing email marketing, that's something that I would do, like right now, is to start leveraging your email marketing. So if you can do that, then you really shouldn't have to worry about just going after snowbirds. And I'd rather put in a little bit more work, keep my rates up, as opposed to having to go in and, and drop them. Hold on one second. Some people don't know how to find this, so I'm just going to put a little message in there. All right, so let's see here. We've got, this is my first, don't know who this user is, but this is my first year without booking snowbirds, and I already have 3.5 times more. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about, right? And this is going to be a slow winter. We're like going to see 2017, 2018 numbers. I don't think it's going to be horrendous, and we're not going to see any bookings, but we're not, 2021, 2022, we're not going to, I know we're still in 2022, but leading into the summer, we're not going to see that stuff for quite a while, most likely. That's awesome news. Let's see here. Can I come on? Love to ask questions, or do I have to type them in? If you want to come on live, let me see here. I can do that. Bear with me for 1 second. Copy to clipboard. Go right over here. I'm going to post it right here. Anybody that wants to join me live, literally, I just posted the link in the comments. All you need to do is click on that. You'll pop down into my studio right here right below where I'm at, and then I'll bring you up so you can ask your question live. Nadia has a question. My comps in Western North Carolina have 30 plus Airbnb reviews, and I have 10. How much lower should I price my place? I don't think that having 30 reviews versus 10 reviews, makes the difference. I think there's a lot of other strategies, like the one that we just talked about, Nadia, that you can utilize. I would definitely take, 2 or 3 of your strongest reviews and put them like one in the first 5 images. And so they can see those reviews. But I think you can still compete on ranking, even though you're behind by 20 reviews. Case in point is when I deployed my 2 beach properties ago, my new construction that I built. And your property is amazing, right? So that was my Dragonfly property, tier 2 in Gulf Shores. Finished it around Thanksgiving last year. By around December 9th or 12th, I was ranked number 1 for, a ton. Almost everything that I searched, I was in the top 2 or 3 rankings. And I was number 1 for a multitude of dates, a multitude, of price points, a multitude of occupancies. So I think you just got to continue to listing optimize. But I would definitely showcase some of your reviews in your images. Just take screenshots of them, or even do the collage. If you have shorter reviews, do a collage in Canva, so that way you can showcase 2 or 3 or 4 in one image inside of your listing. So I do that from other properties when I launch a new property and I don't have any reviews. So we can leverage that as well. The other thing I'll tell you, don't sleep on the virtual stay. Anytime that we get a 5-star review, I see that it triggers the algorithm. So if you go through a slow period of time where you haven't had bookings for a week or a month even, then go in and have somebody come and do a virtual stay and give you a 5-star review. For disclosure, that does violate Airbnb's, terms of service. Let's see. Michelle Sanders. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. I've heard you talk about cost segregation study. Can you explain it? Yes, I can. I'm going to try to give you very, very simple terms on this, a cost segregation study. And I just got one back. I shared it with my Host Academy members last week on our I guess it was this week on our coaching call. And I just interviewed Yona Weiss from Madison Specs because he's for my podcast, STR Unfiltered. He's the one that did my cost segregation study. You can find him in every place of social media. Yona Weiss is his name, and Madison Specs is his company. So essentially, here's the nutshell. And I know Ryan Bakey's here, but I got 31% back on my total purchase price. So my property, in the same property I was just referring to, my Dragonfly Beach property, it was $978,000. $300,000 for the land, that goes away. None of the tax benefit comes off the land. So I'm left at $678,000. $600,000 to build the dwelling, $78,000 for furnishings. That's where we have the $678,000. I ended up with a $254,000 benefit. Now I get a percentage of that. I don't get all that $254,000 for the first year accelerated depreciation. That's going to depend upon what tax bracket you're going to fall into. So those are a lot of things that become really important. I think the cost seg, one, you have to really understand and how to qualify for material participation, which means if you only have like one property or two properties, you have to put in the most time, meaning work and effort managing that property. You can't have a cleaner spend more time than you, and you need 100 hours minimum. I am not the expert on that. Ryan Bakey is the expert. If you really want to learn more about cost segs, I would contact Ryan. And you see Ryan here, Michelle, there you go. He just said, look at his calculator at learnlikeacpa.com. You can see your potential savings. So anybody that wants to see a cost seg benefit, you can go to learnlikeacpa.com. That's Ryan Bakey's website. He has a potential savings from a cost seg calculator, which I didn't even know that, Ryan. Why do I not know about that? That's awesome. You can also see Ryan at the boot camp on November 19th and 20th that we'll be doing with my super team here in Nashville, if you want to take a deep dive. But looks like you got hooked up there, Michelle. That's awesome. Let's see who is next here. What else do we have? Okay, I'm afraid to pull this one up from John Hodge from Memphis. Hi, John. How does your strategy change as interest rates continue to increase? Will you try and focus more to perform better with your current portfolio, or will you simply adjust down your future buying price on the asset to balance the interest rate as they increase? That's an incredible question. If you guys don't know who John Hodge is, he's probably the most advanced STR real estate investor in my mastermind group. And him and I are on a pretty significant business venture and journey together. And we just literally were working on a property for probably the better part of maybe 5 to 6 weeks, maybe even 7 or 8 weeks. And because of the interest rate jump, the property just didn't work. 7-8 weeks ago, it was amazing. But literally, when we saw, like, I think it was maybe 1.25 points that's gone up with 2 interest rate hikes during that time, possibly even 3. I don't remember 100%. The property did not become valuable. We went from like 48 for high 40s cash on cash down to like 18%. Also because of the term too. We were hoping to get 25-year term when we got 20. So John, to answer your question, I think it's all of it. So I'm always looking to optimize my portfolio. And a lot of people, are like, Bill, why do you buy and sell so much? I mean, I'm a buy and hold guy, but I'm looking to optimize my portfolio. Many of you that follow me know I do not want 100. I don't want 100 units by any means. I don't want 100 doors. What I want is the most profitable properties to hit my financial goals that I've set for my life and my life plan. If you were recently at the Miami retreat, you know what I'm talking about. We have to have this outcome. So I'm always trying to optimize my properties. I believe that if we have properties that are underperforming, like properties that are doing 10, 12, 13, 15% cash on cash, or you're only doing 10% gross ROI, and you don't have like mega cash flow, you should dump that property, specifically if you have equity in it. But we need to do an analysis of that individual property on the cash flow that it's generating now. Then if we were to, let's say, sell or cash out refi, let's just say sell, then the cash that we would take out of it. So let's say that you're doing $40,000 net on a property and you can pull out $150,000 in cash. That's about a 3.5-year cash on cash return. Well, I'm going to lose that $40,000 in cash. So if I take that and now I'm doing $100,000 a year in cash flow, but I've increased my debt by $500,000 or $400,000. For me, that doesn't make sense because I didn't get a big enough delta between the existing cash flow of property number one before I sold it and then property number two to make up for that $40,000 that I'm losing. That's just one example. I just want you to look at both sides of that equation, put it on the paper, put it into a spreadsheet, build it into a pro forma so you can make a financially driven decision. I don't really know, John. You know, John and I actually talked about this earlier, and it's an amazing question. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I've gone the longest since 2019 or 18, actually, late 18, December of 18, without buying a property in my career right now. And the interest rates I look at, you know, I mean, probably prime's around 7. You know, most people, if you're going to get a commercial loan, are probably going to be 7, 7.25, maybe 7.5 right now. I mean, the last property I bought, I was at 4.25. That's 3 points. And that was on a DSCR through the lender. Excuse me. I mean, imagine if you're getting a DSCR now. I don't even know what it is. I haven't even seen anybody talking about it. I don't know that anybody can get a DSCR under 8 today, right now. And then that's probably going to go up to 9 before the Fed raises again next month, maybe 8.5, probably to 8.75 to 9 the month after that. So that's kind of what's crazy, you know, about what's happening. Our buying power is just going down and down and down. So I'm more focused right now, to what John says in that last sentence, to maximizing my existing assets. And I have hoarded cash because I know that there's going to be a buying spree that I can go on. We haven't quite, there's some good deals that are out there now, but I think they're going to get a hell of a lot better after the election in December, January, and February. So I'm conserving cash. I also believe that we could take another 15, 20% hit on equity. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of cash to sustain. If my income outside of my STR portfolio, you know, slows down, if my co-hosts decide, well, I need to get rid of Bill and host myself because I can't afford Bill anymore, that goes down. And then my STR portfolio goes down. So I'm looking at everything from a financial basis of my entire life, all the businesses that I have, because each one cannot, we think we can silo it, but we can't, because they all are interactive with basically our tax return. So a lot of people think that, you know, you can really keep the businesses separate, but you can't. At the end of the day, you're the one that's making the money off the business. Whether you have a partnership, a single member LLC, you know, you own your properties in your own name as a second home mortgage, whatever it is. So, and that's my biggest fear for people is, as inflation goes up, and I think we'll see double-digit interest rates and inflation by the middle of January. Double digits inflation and interest rates by the middle of January. There's a reason that I just announced probably the most important boot camp of my career. It'll be the 28th boot camp that I've ran in November. And there's a reason that the people that are going to be there have been called in to come as the super team, because it's never been done before. And because we're going to need all of that to make it through the recession. We're going to need every ounce of brain power that Ryan Bakey has so we can take advantage of all the taxes that we can. We need to protect our assets, our liabilities. You need to understand homesteading, just all these different things that go in on the legal side from Jeff Hampton. You want to renegotiate a refi, cash out refi, or a HELOC or something with your bank. Did you know you can negotiate? Well, John, the guy that just asked the question, is the bank whisperer. That's his new nickname, because the guy, I don't want to use the word manipulate because that's not the right word. He literally has the ability to kind of whisper bankers into giving him what he wants. And that's all based on the preparation ahead of time, the performance, the package, you know, and how he communicates, the confidence, a myriad of things. You know, a lot of us are investing. I'm still looking to invest. And, you know, outside of myself, there's only one other person that I trust in this industry, and that's Kenny Bedwell from STR Insights. He's going to be there. Him and I are actually going to spend 4 hours delivering, you know, the top markets and even the most investable properties to people they're going to be there. That's the tough thing. We have to go through such exhaustive, due diligence right now, more so than ever. We can't just point at a market and think that it's going to give us a return. No market will do that. We have to hone our skills on the evaluation process, on the financial side, on building the performance, understanding the performance, tweaking the performance, negotiating with banks, using 5, 6, 7 banks at one time, looking at commercial loans, looking at second, vacation home loans, looking at DSCRs, looking at private equity, comparing 2 commercial banks. One might give you a 25-year AM, another's going to give you a 20. We're going to show you how you can go through all that stuff. That is so critical at today's juncture if you still want to grow your portfolio. I'm also going to talk about optimizing your portfolio. We're going to have a whole marketing session as well. Let's see here. Hi, Tahona. How are you? Welcome from Sedona and Cottonwood. Best dynamic pricing software to use when you have one STR. Price Labs is my go-to. I love Price Labs about some of their, I think they have more functionality, and that depends. I'm going to give you one caveat. I don't own in urban markets, but if I was in a downtown area surrounded by hotels like Houston or Nashville or Philly or Dallas or whatever, I would probably be using Beyond Pricing just because they pull more hotel data to be a little bit more competitive. Anywhere outside of that, I'm going with Price Labs. Do you have any unique tips to rank high in search results besides updating your listing pictures, pricing, description? Yeah, I mean, the pricing strategy and the number of minimum days strategy is something that's very important. Pricing strategy is critical, and I'm not talking about just lowering your pricing. The other thing that I do is I go and I block out, and so I keep my calendar open for 2 years. And for 2 years is extremely important. A lot of people do 3 months, they do 6 months. Understand that availability is a huge deal for the algorithm. There's a reason when you have a top property in the algorithm and you go into your peak season and you're sold out, your rankings drop, right? That's because you don't have any availability. So open your calendar as far as you can. I do 2 years, so I have to continually manually to open up dates, into the future because my settings and like owner res and whatever just goes up to a year. But then I'll go out. So not 2023 January and February, 2024 January and February. I'll go to literally some of my Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays and drop the rates on my properties that at that time of year are going to be in the $600 to $700 a night range to like $99. Because that, once again, and that's when I'll do even more of my one night stays. Nobody's going to book January and February, as an example, in Gulf Shores on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that far in advance, 2 years in advance. It just won't happen. Maybe, a summer date or a compression event date like the Hangout Fest or Shrimp Fest or something might get booked. But, those January, February dates on the early weekdays are not going to get booked. So I lower my rates. I'll put in some more one night minimums now that I've learned that from Jose Cornejo and, kind of optimize that way. The other thing in regards to SEO that's a huge deal is it's not just about listing pictures and description. I mean, don't marginalize that. That makes up the majority of your rankings, but you got to do it fucking right. And what I mean by that is like every single character in your copy needs to be utilized. Every single section that you can type something into needs to be utilized. You need to take the traffic drivers, the top attractions that get the most search volume from like Google results, and you need to have those images in your listing. And you need to have the if you haven't heard about this, take the top 5 to 7, put them in your description, and put ABC, Funhouse, 1.2 miles, and their address and phone number. All of that gets aggregated inside the algorithm from Airbnb. The problem is you have to test. And as Kenny and I talk a lot about with the data, it's different market to market. The biggest thing for me is really amenities. That's number one. You can out amenity a competitor, one in the rankings just by having everything. So if you didn't see my, I did a podcast about this, and I'm posting this stuff all the time on my reels, and I even have a TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram at BillFace73. I'm putting more content out on my Instagram page than I do on any other platform for free, just FYI. The podcasts, STR Unfiltered, every Tuesday, STRonomics every Thursday. I do that with Kenny Bedwell. That's all about evaluating properties and the economics of the business. But here's the deal. The SEO, it's all on-page SEO. There's no link building. There's no advanced stuff anyplace else. That's all we can do is really try to optimize what we have on site. And the single biggest mistake is people do not maximize the copy. They don't type in how to get around the neighborhood. They don't fill, and I'm guilty of this part, they don't fill out the welcome guide. Even if you have Hostfully or TouchStay, and I haven't made the time to do it either, but we really should build out the welcome guide on Airbnb as well. We want to take advantage of every piece of content as we can. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Mike Lynn, can you talk about withholding a security deposit versus using inexpensive $1,300 to $1,500 damage waivers? It seems the damage insurance would be less likely to upset guests. So, Mike, I use OwnerRez, and it has the damage waiver, the insurance built in. So I think it's $30. I think you might be right, 30. Maybe it's $35 for $1,500. I do that setting on every single property. So I do not take a deposit ever, because that also works if the direct booking comes through OwnerRez. So, Mike, I know you're in the Host Academy. Even if you built your sales page through a lead page and you had the OwnerRez booking widget and you had that turned on, it would cover all of your direct bookings as well. So I'm really about, the KISS methodology, keep it simple, stupid. I've tried to make my hosting experience with my own portfolio and my co-host portfolio as simplified and automated as possible, because I'm the only one that does it. I don't have 5 or 6 VAs behind me. I don't have a team. Chris, if you know Chris, he doesn't communicate with guests. He doesn't, work with Price Labs. He just helps me if there's a technical issue on the back end with OwnerRez or something. My wife helps a little bit, and I try to keep as much away from her as possible. So I'm the boots on the ground guy. I'm the one getting my hands dirty. I'm the one that's, shooting my welcome videos for my guests. I'm the one that's doing the optimization every single day, all that type of stuff. And that becomes really important to me to be able to go in and optimize my time. I don't want to have to deal with, and just the accounting side of, taking deposits and sending them back and reimbursing, pain in the arse. That's something I just don't want to deal with. So I just stick with the OwnerRez insurance that they have. Can you give tips on what can be done in the listing to convert views to bookings? We always rank high and get a good amount of views. I believe the property is great and we have great photos. So it's really hard because we don't have control to move stuff around. We don't have control to use heat mapping software. I don't have control to do what's called CRO, conversion rate optimization. And because of this question, that's one of the reasons I don't like direct booking websites through platforms or people that build them for us and we can't modify them very quickly and easy. That's why I use sales pages. One, I can do all the CRO, the conversion rate optimization on them. I can test and I can be quick and super nimble to make changes. None of you, unless you probably nobody, unless you're in my Host Academy program outside of myself, in less than 20 minutes can literally spin up a sales page to take your lake property, your beach property, your urban property, whatever it is, duplicate it and customize it for a compression event. And then literally send out a Facebook ad or an email blast or whatever to send them directly to that compression event page. So as an example, we have Shrimp Fest coming up in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Right now we have the Oz Festival in Beach Mountain and Banner Elk. I have a sales page for each of those. So I'm sending traffic based on, I'm attracting somebody that's interested in that Shrimp Festival. And if I send them to my Airbnb listing or Vrbo, or if I send them to my direct booking site and they just see all of my properties or even just one property, and it's not about the Shrimp Festival, the conversion rate plummets. When I have a sales page that is customized for the Shrimp Festival, boom, the conversion rate increases dramatically. Now I'm only selling one date for that, so I got to be able to do it super quickly. That's what Lead Pages allows me to do. That is something that becomes super duper important to be, as a marketer, to be nimble. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, right? So I'm going to do something for you guys here that I typically don't do. I'm going to grab this over here. I'm posting right now a link to leadpages.net. This is an affiliate link, so if you do sign up, I will make it like $2 on commission. I just posted it, but here's the deal. Go look at all of these templates and do a test. Do a 14-day free trial by using this link. I mean, this is exactly what I use for my properties and exactly what I use for my Host Academy membership when we build out marketing funnels for them, because it converts at about 25 to 28% higher than sending this to direct booking sites. I don't care how good the site is. You can have the best web developer or Mark from Boostly build it, whatever it is. It's not going to convert at the level of a sales page. The reason I bring this up is because of the fact that we can't do the stuff on the Airbnb listing. So you just gotta make everything as good as possible. You can't test the button colors. You can't move images around. We can't use video. I mean, the best marketing piece I have are the videos that I do for my properties. I can put those videos on my sales page. I can put those videos into a Facebook ad. I can put them onto my social media, but I cannot put them onto an Airbnb listing, and video converts. So if you go, and I'll just show you, you guys will know this. Here, I'll pull this over here real quick, and I'm going to share my screen. There's one thing you will see, and understand, I used to own a $12 million marketing agency. So I'm not talking out of my ass about this, but I'm going to show you this right here. You guys have seen this before, right? Every single page that I build, this is a sales page. This is for the boot camp, November 19th and 20th. What do you not see up here? You do not see a menu. This is not on our website. Even though the subdomain's there, there is nothing to take you to our website. There's not even a logo over here. You have one action to click right here and literally to go in and buy a ticket. That's it. That's the first step in building a conversion rated optimization page, a sales page, not a web page. Every single page you see starts with a video. And I can see how many people visit this page and how many watch the video. Same thing on my pages for my properties. And then I can control all of this stuff. I can move this around. If I put a heat map on here, look, there's little John Hodge right there, me and John. If I see that people are steering away from the analyze, or that this is the number one thing they're looking at and they're spending time in their cursors here, then I can just drag and drop it and move it right up here. If I use something like orange, heat maps. So I don't have this customization. And you notice that a lot of my pages, whether it's for my properties or it's for something like this, it's very visual, background image, video, big images everywhere, little chunks of text. We don't get that on the OTAs, and we can't customize it. See, I can't do cool stuff like this, right? So there's only one thing to do. There's no other property. I'm not trying to sell you anything else. All I want you to do is grab a ticket. That's it. And I'm going to tell you exactly, here's the value proposition. Here's what you're going to walk away with. So this is something I'm going to share with you right here. You look at this section right there. Take a screenshot of that. Make a note, because that is the most important thing that most people miss in their listings. That's the emotion. I talk about this. What is mom going to feel like when she turns on the car and puts the car into reverse and is backing out of your driveway? What are they coming away with? All we do, we're trying to sell we don't really talk about the benefits or the outcome of what happens when somebody stays at our property. All we're trying to do is position our amenities, right? So I want you to really think in terms of, from a marketing position, is the outcome. It's the only thing that matters. So what are they going to get when they've come and they've stayed with you? Look at that. I'm telling you exactly what you're going to walk away with if you come to boot camp. Here's exactly what you're going to get. You notice this is not on top. This doesn't say hot tub, pool, bikes, all that type of stuff. This is what you're going to get. You're going to relax for 5 days. You're going to have everything that you need. You're not going to have to call me or message me for more forks or toilet paper. God forbid I can only afford one roll of toilet paper in the bathroom. This is where I'm walking through all of this stuff. Yeah, we have 2 refrigerators because we sleep 16. By the way, we have 2 washers, 2 dryers, You know, all the things that mom, that guests worry about, we need to answer those questions in the OTAs and on our sales pages or your direct booking website. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Great question. Hi, Sonia from Gulf Breeze. You can't just come away, I'm pretty sure. What is this? Can you use listing? Okay, so let's see here. Barry Griffiths, I would like to display experience pics of your listing as pick 3 and 4 through 7 to influence. I would also add call to action like book now to the first description on the listings. Yeah, I mean, that's all stuff that you can do inside of your listing. The experience pics are something that I believe in mightily. I typically don't get to the interior of my house because most of my properties are single family homes. I see a lot of people have the shot of their house first, like the exterior, and then they typically go inside. And you see this in a lot of MLS listings, right? And I think maybe a lot of people have copied what they see in MLS, and the realtors do it backwards, in my opinion. And once again, they sell the wrong shit. They're selling the house. People are not buying the house. They're buying emotion and they're buying the experience. And if they would understand that, they would re-optimize the listings to show everything that's going to go on. Like I go and want to buy a horse farm in Kentucky, and they're walking me through the house first. The reason I'm buying a fucking horse farm is because I love horses, and I need a place to take my horses. That's why way more important to me than it is for, the house. They're both important, but we got to prioritize these things. Emotion and experience is why people buy things, folks. So Barry's 100% correct. If I show you my Banner Elk house in my listing on the direct booking site, it's literally the exterior shot that shows the guest house, shows the huge house at the golden hour, the huge rock walkway coming down all the way into the fire pit, all that cool stuff. But then it's showing everything outside. It goes to hot tub, it goes to fire pit. Most importantly, I only have one image inside, and that's game room. Everything else is skiing, hiking, fly fishing, all the things that we're going to do outdoors, which is the reason that people come to Western North Carolina. So I'm selling them the experience before I show them where they're going to be comfortable and how fully stocked everything is, so mom doesn't have to worry about it. So if you're at the beach, how many times do you get messages? Because, and this is telling you, you talked about SEO, right? All SEO is about helping people. The better you make your listing to help somebody, like the least amount of questions you get about your property, the better you've done from a search engine optimization standpoint. If you're at the beach, how many times do you get questions? Hey, do you have beach gear? Do you have a cart? What do I need to bring? Do you supply beach towels? It's like I supply all that shit. And we make it front and center that everything is there. We give them toothpaste, toothbrushes, tampons, all this stuff, and like a bathroom amenity kit that mom and dad tend to forget, right? So sell the experience, sell your amenities, but most importantly, sell that emotional component. You think about mom. Mom is so stressed the day before somebody leaves. And we're talking about vacation rentals, right? Mom is stressed the night before they check out and the morning when they check out. If you can alleviate her from that stress in your marketing and your optimization, then you're going to win many, many more bookings. John Hodge, thank you. Still want to come in, have lots of questions. Alina, you got to turn on your camera and your volume. If that doesn't work, I can't add you in if you want to jump in here. And anybody else, there's a link I put up there if you want to jump on live with me. Love to have you. I just need you to have your camera and your mic on to be able to bring you up into the studio. So, Alina, if you do want to jump on, just make sure that's working. Let's see. Barry Archie. First 5 photos are most important. Yep, you're right. How do we get resources for QuickBooks Online? I need bookkeeping and CPA services. Most importantly, that the bookkeeping is being done correctly for a CPA. One of the things that I think, there's a lot of options to get bookkeepers, right? You can go to your CPA and they should be able to give you bookkeepers. I usually find mine through Xero.com. That's Xero.com. And I'll just type it in here right now. Xero.com. The one thing that I look at with bookkeepers is we have to treat them kind of like a virtual assistant, at least in the beginning, in the setup. And what do you have in your chart of accounts? What's the mapping for each one of your properties, or your debit card, or your credit card, all that type of stuff. And we have to educate them. If we educate them, then we're going to get our books done the way that we want to have them done. With that being said, I probably would not go through your CPA to get a bookkeeper, at least on a local level, because they're typically going to be way more expensive. I like Xero. There's a couple of my clients not in this industry use nowcfo.com, and I've actually been on some calls with them. These are one-on-one coaching clients, and they do a really, really good job. They get you your P&Ls by the 10th of every month, guaranteed, your balance sheets, everything's reconciled. But once again, you're still going to need to share with them how you want to have everything set up. Hopefully that makes sense. And I would reach out to Ryan Bakey, Learn Like a CPA. And Ryan's everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, all those places, and learnlikeacpa.com. He could probably assist you with that as well. I think that's the last question. Anybody else have any questions? I don't see. I don't think I missed any. If you have questions, pop them in the comments. I'll stay as long as you guys want. As long as you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to stay on. Where do you get the chart of accounts? I mean, so Vicky asked, where do you get the chart of accounts? I mean, you have to set that up. On your own. Every property is going to be different, but if you just think about all of your, how are you going to set up your property? So number one, I think everybody should have their properties in an individual LLC. And I am not a CPA or an attorney. You want to literally discuss this stuff with Ryan Bakey and, Jeff Hampton. I wouldn't be taking social media advice on this type of stuff. Put every property into an LLC. That's pretty much a given. Then set up a bank account for that LLC. Get a debit card and a credit card for that LLC. Then you look at all your expenses, cleaning costs, utilities, cable, internet, pool cleaning, the pool cleaning guy, could be gas. What else we got? Snow, could be snow removal, HOA fees, local, taxes, property taxes, kind of everything's going to be its own category inside of QuickBooks underneath that account, right? So you want to categorize all of those so that way, all of your snow removal fees are going into one category and you don't get them mixed up. And I believe you want to have a separate chart of accounts for each property. So that way you can have a level of separation. We don't want to commingle funds. We don't want to commingle accounts. So that's a whole nother thing. You got to set up your entities correctly from a liability standpoint, but also from a tax standpoint. So I don't want to turn this into, a boot camp sales pitch, because that 100% is not the intention. But I'm going to show you these two guys right here. There is a reason I've got these two guys leading off. It's not those two, actually. It's those two. Jeff Hampton and Ryan Bakey together for 4 hours, because Jeff's going to protect your liability, your assets, and show you how to set up all the entities. Everything you need from a legal standpoint, your contracts, your co-hosting, your rental agreement, your entity structure, where you should have your liability policies, all that asset protection needs to tie in with your CPA. You need an expert. So that's why Ryan and Jeff are going to be spending like 3 to 4 hours in the morning making sure everybody is set up correctly. Because if we set it up wrong, and a lot of people have gone in and literally done their stuff and follow a CPA's advice that doesn't know this industry, and they go in and they set up a corporation. Well, if you have a corporation right now and like you have your properties inside of a corp, you need to go to Learn Like a CPA and connect with Ryan Bakey, ASAFP, because you need to get them out. You're costing yourselves thousands potentially by not having that in an entity. You're gonna have a taxable transaction almost every time you touch any funds, and that sucks. Don't know how to turn camera on. Sorry, it doesn't show me how. It should just work. I don't know. I can't help you on that end. I apologize. I read you should have 5 different accounts for one STR. If you're referring to bank accounts, one bank account for per STR, debit card, credit card, that would be 3. I think you should have an investing account as well. I think you should be pulling in probably a capital expense account. That would be the 5. If you want to go that extreme. I have one capital expense account, which I just call I call it my kitty. It's literally labeled as the STR kitty in my online banking, and so I keep X amount of dollars, typically around $400,000, just for my entire portfolio to do all my carry costs. So right now, I have about 400 grand would cover my portfolio for about 8.5 months. 8.5 months of carry costs, and it's literally sitting there in the bank, losing money because of inflation. But that's my safety net. I have other funds, or else I would have 12 months sitting inside of that. I believe we should be paying ourselves first. So I do believe in the profit first methodology, but I actually flip that around. I pay my business first, then I pay myself first before I pay any other bills or any other assets. So those would be the 5 accounts. Bank account, number 1, capital account, and then that would be your investment account, and then your capital expense, your carry cost account, and then debit card and credit card. Vacation rental, property insurance. Okay, that's a huge topic. I just recorded an STR Unfiltered podcast about this. Got to get lubed up for that one. So the mentality with insurance for most is, I want to get the cheapest rate possible because the stuff is expensive. As opposed to, I've got some assets that I need to protect. I want the best coverage. So if you're on that first side and you have a hurricane, which right now there's multiples coming towards the Gulf and coming towards Florida, you're going to be in a world of hurt when you have cheap insurance. If you are in the mountains and you have a fire, we have a mastermind member that lost a property in the Gatlinburg fire earlier this year. You're going to be in a world of hurt. So I only use commercial insurance. I don't use Farmers. I don't use State Farm. And here's what, if you think you're saving money, many of you are going to go fucking bankrupt if you have a catastrophe. Like if you have those properties and you think you're covered because you've looked at the debt page and your agent has told you that you have coverage, and it says $78,000 in rental income. Well, that's how much you have booked over the next year in many cases. Some of those cases it's from a residential standpoint, and it's like, oh, it's how much you have booked, and that's only can go towards your housing while your property is being rebuilt. And there's a shit ton of exclusions. We talked about this at our mastermind meeting. Jeff Hampton was going over it. You need to hire somebody. It's really simple. In my opinion, if you're not with proper insurance or directly with Lloyd's of London, who underwrites proper on a commercial policy, you need to get some legal advice, and you need to get somebody that it specializes in insurance to review your policy and read all that legalese fine print that none of us ever look at to see what's excluded. What's excluded. That's not on the debt page. That's not in the first 5 pages. That's on like page 217 when your insurance policy is this thick. I'm a believer that over 85% of the people in our industry that own short-term rentals are underinsured. And when you have that fire in the mountains and you lose your property and you have exclusions, you don't have enough. A lot of people think that the rental income is on an annual basis, and if it takes the loss of revenue, right? The loss of rent. And there's different language that's used in different policies by different companies. A lot of people think they're going to get that cash up front, and it's on an annualized basis. Usually there is a lot of stipulations that go through that before it's dispersed, and it's a one-time deal. What does your liability insurance cost? I mean, typically most of these policies, they used to come with $500,000. Now they're coming with $300,000. What does that cover? What does it not cover? Have you gone through and really seen what it covers and what it doesn't cover and what is excluded? One thing, like with proper, they tell you right up front. If you're using security cameras for the security of your property and it doesn't see the driveway or the road in front of you, like I've got a couple on the backside of my property because I have stairs or entrances going into it, that they can't use that. The other part of the insurance part is I think most people on their dwelling coverage are underinsured. If you've just continued to renew policy, I just renewed my lake house and it was $716,000 for the dwelling. I just raised it by 120. So I'm at like 836 or 837 or something like that now. It cost me, I don't know, like another $200 a year. It's nothing, 20 bucks a month. But now I feel comfortable I could rebuild the house for 740, 750 in today's market, right? But if I continue to renew for 5 years, I would have a gap to where I'm not keeping up with construction costs. So I am not a fan, Eagles Point or Ray, or Lake Sam Rayburn. We'll just call you EP. I'm not a fan of residential with STR riders on top of it because there's way too many exclusions. Are you paying your cleaner through an app or through Venmo or Zelle? If the latter, who do you bank with? So I have different banks. I actually have 3 banks that I use within my STR portfolio. A requirement for me is that my cleaners use resortcleaning.com. It integrates directly with OwnerRez, so all my bookings go out. They have to accept it. I get confirmation that they've accepted it, and blah blah blah. There's like scheduling for maintenance and handymen, and and most importantly, they can invoice through that. And then we actually pay, directly through QuickBooks with a check and send it to them. I do not do Venmo or PayPal or Zelle or any of that type of stuff. My wife and my bookkeepers would kill me if I did that. So they have to comply to the way that we are doing business on our terms. That's non-negotiable for me, unfortunately. I mean, I'm probably at some point going to have to give in the North Carolina market because it's such a struggle for services there. But I haven't had to yet, thank God. Need a kick-ass attorney. I'm in Banner Elk as well. My PM is withholding funds. Unfortunately, I do not know an attorney there. Tyler Kuhn probably does. Can you talk about VRBO? I'm sure a lot of us know how to hack the algorithm for Airbnb outside of the boost. For VRBO, it's the exact same stuff. You do the exact same thing. There's nothing to do different on VRBO than there is on Airbnb. Just literally optimize for your guests. That's the most important thing. I've been trying to cash out refi 2 properties here for 10 months. Location, horrible appraisals with difficult to comp properties. Length of time and the typical mountain time mentality is frustrating. Appraisals are finally back and 300 short. I don't know what that means. Let's see. From personal experience, stay away from State Farm. Dwelling coverage is key in this inflation. 100%. You got to keep up with the building costs. If you don't, you're going to get caught with your hand outside of the cookie jar, and you will be in a lot of trouble. I think that's it. Any other questions? God, I'm going to get out of here like in under an hour. That would be ridiculous. I'll hang out just for see if anybody else has any additional questions. I'm happy to. Might have missed it, but an opinion on Relay banking online. Don't know anything about Relay banking online. I use First Cahaba, I use M&M Bank, and I use Pinnacle Bank. Who do you co-host with in Beach? I don't know what that means. Who do I co-host with? I do have a client that I co-host for them, that I procured the property for them, and then I design it and we'll renovate it. And but I don't understand what you say for Beach. I mean, in Beach, I have my cleaners and my handyman and my services, but nobody co-hosts my properties. I self-manage everything. Can you talk about what's the best platform to run ads? Instagram, Google, anything else? What's better for Facebook ads? Directing to your house to Facebook page? Okay, so there's no question. Facebook ads, cost, targeting, effectiveness. You got to send them to a sales page. Don't send them to Airbnb and Vrbo directly. and definitively, don't send them to your Facebook page, and don't waste money trying to buy likes. So I pay no attention to my Facebook pages for my properties. Like my wife will go in and post maybe once every 2 months, just where we have something that's somewhat relevant, but nobody goes back to the Facebook page. How many times have you bought a handgun or a pair of glasses or pens or whatever off of a Facebook ad? You don't go to their website or to their Facebook page. The link's always going to take you to the sales page that they're selling something from. So I don't run Instagram ads. I don't run Google ads. Something that can be effective with people that are in the location is going to be Google My Business. To where you can drop the pin on your property. You can build it out like the little mini web page that it has. I am an advocate for that. The majority of my marketing is Facebook ads, off-platform marketing, Facebook ads, buy-sell trade groups, and email marketing. Those are the three primary things that I do. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You don't see me posting very often about my properties unless it's just my families that were there visiting. And my wife will typically do a before and after she redesigns something. And once in a while we'll use it. If I do, I'm typically only promoting something that's within driving distance of Nashville, because outside of you guys, that's where the majority of my friends are on social media. So Facebook ads is the most targeted. We have a great Facebook ads course if you need to learn how to do that. It's not that challenging. The copy and the content is the most important part. It's not necessarily the targeting any longer. One thing I think everybody should understand is retargeting. Don't even bother with running ads on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere else, Google, if you don't know how to implement retargeting. But understand it's the quality of the content that is usually determines if your ad sucks or if it's going to be great and successful. What is this one? Can you talk about how to use buy-sell trade groups on Facebook? Absolutely. So you want to know where your guests are traveling from, like what city. That's where you want to join the buy-sell trade groups. So I'm in probably an average of 10 to 12, maybe up to 15, depending on the size of the city, in about 15 or 16 different cities around the country in their buy-sell trade groups for different properties as they're scattered across the country. So I'll just use Banner Elk as an example. I mean, Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, North Carolina, the two biggest ones, Johnson City, Tennessee, even Knoxville. Those are kind of the four closest big cities that I target. So I'm in buy-sell trade groups in all four of those cities. And then I will pick out my 10 best images, and then I'll go and I will post inside of those buy-sell trade groups. You got to write really great, compelling copy. Highly recommend using emojis. I've got a whole action plan inside the Superhost library that walks you through how to do this. And I'm probably doing a good 20 to 30% overall of my direct bookings are coming because of my buy-sell trade group strategy. Sorry, I'm lifting up my desk. I'm getting tired of sitting down. Because of the buy-sell trade group strategies, right? And the rest of that's going to come from Facebook ads. Now, one thing I do in the buy-sell trade group is I post Airbnb, Vrbo, and my direct booking sales page. That's a really important thing. I want everybody not to forget, because the only reason I do that, I don't want them to go to Vrbo. I don't want them to go to Airbnb. So I use the call to action. Hey, you can book direct and save, not have to pay the Vrbo or Airbnb fees. But if it's the first time they've ever seen my listing, they've never stayed with me, they've never interacted with me, that's what we call cold traffic. There's absolutely zero relationship between them and me as the host. That's why I need the confidence level that, hey, I'm on Vrbo, I'm on Airbnb, go take a look there, go look at my reviews, then come back. Because if I send them directly to the sales page with no prior relationship, I'm not going to be as trustworthy. People are always skeptical. There's too many potential scammers that are out there. So that's why I use all three. Hopefully that helps. Best advice for someone looking to purchase their first STR. Make sure you're not using more than 25% of your total net worth to purchase the property, and that you have at least minimum 6 months of carry costs. And where everybody tells you is the best market to invest in, stay away from it. Those are the best pieces of advice that I can give you. Learn how to evaluate properties on your own. That's the most important thing. You got to know how to build the pro formas. You got to know how to use STR Insights, AirDNA, and just don't listen to people on social media because they all say that their markets are great that they're in, and that's not true. Can you explain how your retainer fee works as part of management? So I don't do management. I am a co-host that does marketing and hospitality. That's it. And I am not a property manager. I charge between 18 to 22% a month of the gross rents plus a $299 a month retainer. And that $299 a month retainer means that the guest has a 30-day cancellation policy, and I do not attach to any future bookings at all. Really simple. And the reason I started that is, and I don't own any assets. I don't own their Airbnb. I don't own their Vrbo. They own it. I'm 100% transparent. I don't touch any of their money. I'm a co-host and I get my distribution via Airbnb. They get theirs at the exact same time. And then I invoice them at the end of the month for their Vrbo commission and all the other added expenses like cleaning and all that type of stuff. So I started at 18%. I now run between 18 to 22% plus the $299 a month retainer. Turo, rental car service for STR. Nope, I'm not into that. We can chat about them just if I'm working on for 11 months. Okay, that's not quite love. Love your boot racks and your Beach Mountain property. Where did you get those and what are they called? I have no idea. That's 100% my wife. Send my wife, Bria Faith, a DM or tag her in a post or tag her here or something, and she'll come in and tell you. I don't know if they're from Amazon or Wayfair or Minoan. I've got no idea. I'm sorry. Is it better strategy to buy properties in the same market for economies of scale or buy properties that are in different locations and have different peak seasons? I don't know. A lot of people use the term economies of scale. I don't know what the hell that means. There are no economies of scale. We don't get better deals on property. We don't get better deals on utilities or taxes or anything. So there really is no such thing as an economy of scale. It's really an economy of your comfort zone is what that is. It's a mindset thing. I'm in different markets, and I just went into my very first winter season market, and I did 2 properties because my portfolio was getting way too lopsided to where my cash flow was, almost 4 times higher, 5 times higher in the summer than it was in the down season, and I wanted to equal that out as I moved closer to retirement as part of my retirement plan. But I have always diversified. A lot of people think, probably when they first saw me, that I was only in Gulf Shores. Not the case. It's just what I talked about the most. That and like my Smith Lake properties because it's so close, to me. I very rarely talk about Estes Park, Colorado, Phoenix, that type of stuff. It's too far away. And I'm so hands off on that. I don't know all the real day-to-day that's going on. I mean, I still self-manage and do all that stuff, but I've been there for years. But I don't get economies of scale in Gulf Shores. My cleaning crew doesn't charge me less because I have 6 properties or 7 properties. I've got 9 properties under my belt, owned and managed in Gulf Shores. I don't get 10% or 20% or 30% discounts because I have multiple properties down there. And I wouldn't actually ask for it because I'm not that type of a guy. I'm the guy that wants value. You have a course for the process of scaling your portfolio. Yes, it's not really a course. I'm not a big course guy. And let me share something with you. Why I'm not a big course guy is because less than 30% of people complete a course, and there's nothing hands-on about the course. If you want to learn how to scale your portfolio, come to the boot camp and learn how to do it in 2 days for $787, as opposed to buying a $1,500 or a $2,000 course that you're not going to finish. And then you're going to have a million questions about. You want to get your questions answered. That's why I do like my Host Academy, and I do coaching calls every single week. And you want an online program? Join the Host Academy, and you can learn how to do that. And we can do coaching calls every single week on Thursdays and Fridays. That's what becomes the most important part. And you get access to the Superhost library. That's why I do these live events, because I want to have the one-on-one action, and I run membership programs as opposed to building course after course after course. Courses don't fucking work. And I shouldn't say that, but it's the facts of it. And I've been doing courses and online coaching and stuff like this for 7.5 years, and I've worked with the best of the best in the industry. The only person that benefits from a course is the person that owns it and is selling it. Percent direct booking sales page, about probably 30% roughly. With current rates at 7-8%, what strategy will implement to find 20% returns? Look every single day, get an STR Insights account. Basically, STR Insights shows you exactly what the gross ROI is. Like we have Bill and Kenny's Hot Picks, bkhotpicks.com. We don't upload anything for our members unless it's doing over 15% gross ROI, which would be 30% cash on cash. Now, that might be a little bit down because of the interest rates going up to 7 to 8%. But I won't invest in anything unless it's minimum. If it's under 30% cash on cash, I better be doing over $100,000 net on that property. Net, not gross, net. I'm fine to be at 24, 25% if I'm doing $100,000 net off that property. That all ties into my overall plan. You got to have the plan built first. So I would get an STR Insights account and I would learn how to really, really evaluate properties. That's the most important thing, and markets. Is there a way to find out where your guests come from? Yeah, look at where, so you can go, yeah, I mean, you can see where in Airbnb and Vrbo or in your property management system, what city do they live in? If you have a brand new property and you haven't had a bunch of guests, use Google Trends. Go to Google Trends. That'll help you identify them. Best marketing strategy for direct bookings. We have a good one. Same stuff I've talked about. Email marketing, Facebook ads, buy, sell, trade groups. When you say don't spend more than 25% net worth on STR, do you mean if you are financing? What about you? What about if you pay cash and you have to spend a certain for 10? Why would you pay cash? I mean, if you have $500,000 in a 1031, why would you buy a $500,000 property? I'd tell you go buy 4 $500,000 properties or 3 $500,000 properties. With that cash, and then take on the debt. So I don't believe anybody should be paying cash for a property. Just if you have the care, I can buy properties right now because I have the cash to support it behind buying that property. I can buy a $2 million property right now and be okay. I would not be okay with that interest rate, but this is something that's super important, folks. It's not the 0.75 that the Fed raised this week. It's that they said they will not be lowering rates until 2024. So none of us most likely are going to have an ability to get a rate at 7 or 8% and then refi back down to 5 or refi to 4.5 in the next 24 to 36 months. So that needs to be part of your investing strategy, and you need to understand what you're getting into, because a lot of us have gone in and we would buy and then we would refi 12 months later. I just don't think we're going to have that option. I think we are boxed in right now to where if you tell your kids, my wife used to use this, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. That's how you need to be viewing it when we invest now, because we're going to be boxed in with these higher interest rates for at least 24 months. And I think it's going to be closer to 36. So I would not be spending, paying cash with all that 1031. I might put a little bit more down, but I wouldn't do it. What do you charge to set up STR? My wife does that. I do not do that. We don't go and set them up. She will do a design. She will procure your furniture within your design. She'll have it shipped. We do not go and set up STRs. Why do I say winter will be slow? Because it's already slow in the fall season. And unless you're in a highly desirable with a competitive property and ski markets and that type of stuff, it's what's happening with the economy. People are traveling less. I mean, go do some research on the Global Business Travel Association. Look at the United States Chamber of Commerce. Look at all the travel, entities that you can. I mean, I'm consuming that stuff all the time. That's part of my investing strategy. That's part of my optimization strategy. Look at what's happening with major companies right now, right? So anybody know what just happened to FedEx? How many employees did they lay off in the last 10 days? How many stores are they closing? How many planes, how many jets did they just park? They're a big fucking company that's letting like 10 or 12, I don't remember the exact number, somewhere between like 10 to 15,000 employees are getting laid off. You think those employees are traveling this winter? Hell no, they're not. So the rich people are going to travel, but middle America is getting squeezed right now, and it's going to get worse after the election. That's what's going to, the economy is what's going to impact our winter bookings. If you have 150,000 to draw from a HELOC, what would you do? That's a loaded question I cannot answer. There's something about knowing and being known, folks. This is the problem with social media. If you have 150, if you're having to pull money out of your HELOC, you probably don't have enough savings to be able to support 6 months or 12 months of carry costs behind it. So you're probably going to be over leveraged. So a lot of how much income are you W-2? Are you an entrepreneur? How stable is your job? How much do you have in your 401k or a SEP or in your portfolio? Everything that happens behind that question is what's going to determine what I would advise you to do with it. And for most people that ask me that question, I'm going to tell you not to touch it right now. Wait for 6 weeks and see what happens with the election. Wait for 8 weeks. Wait till December 1st, or at least till the rate hike in December, and see what happens. Unless you're independently wealthy, unless you have like a $10 million net worth, be patient, folks. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. We don't have to scale and add 3, 4, 5 properties a month. We need to make the right frickin' decisions. I can't emphasize enough. That is why we're doing this boot camp, and I'm squeezing it in November. It's everything to answer these questions and to teach you exactly what you need to do, because I hate seeing people make bad decisions, and it can cost yourself your personal home. It can impact your kids. You gotta understand the financial components. And if you do, and you're just using HELOC, that's fine. But make sure you have at least 6 to 12 months carry costs. Make sure you have another at least 12 months of carry costs for your family. What happens if somebody loses a job? Those are the things that scare me for people that are not in the financial position that I'm in, that are still investing and being aggressive, especially with what's going on right now. Lend your cash to me. I'll pay you a good return. Creative financing now is king. Think of the number of people in the country who now have a 2.35 interest rate. Okay, that's not really a question. I'm in Banner Elk, so you won't referring to this property. I'm in Banner Elk, so you won't referring to this property. Okay, I don't know what that means. All my SDR in Banner Elk, so I wanted to see if you were talking about your new Beach Mountain properties. Yeah, I've got 2 up on Beach and 1 in Banner Elk. I don't know what you're asking. If you're using damage insurance, then what recourse do you have if they break rules like smoking in the house? I don't know the answer to that. I've never had anybody smoke inside of my property. I mean, I'm very, very crystal clear on what my policies are multiple times. It's not like they're just in my house rules. I send a dedicated message with my house rules in it. I have signs about where no smoking. We have all these things. It's like, if you're just going to have pool rules that are going to be in your house rules, 90% of the people are not going to see it. We have to put it in a place to where everybody sees it. And to be honest with you, I've never had that problem, but I do have an ozone machine at every market that I'm in for my cleaners. So I'm prepared to mitigate it when it does happen. That comes out of me being in the ground transportation space and having people like Snoop Dogg and people that smoke marijuana and that type of stuff. And I hate it. And that's one of the reasons that I do not invest, or I try to stay away from places or states that are pot friendly, actually. And I think that's it for the questions. That's about an hour and 18 minutes. Oh, here we go. We got another one. My properties are not pet friendly. How do you handle when someone wants to book and tells you they have a support animal and they want to book with you? Well, I mean, if they have a support animal, we can't do anything about it. I mean, the emotional support, you probably could, but I just allow them to bring the pets, and I don't want to get in the middle of all of that stuff. It happens so rarely that I don't worry about that. But I do have my first pet-friendly property on Beach Mountain that I'm kind of excited about. And we kind of did a little pet station, and we got a bed for it. We have crates, we have doggy biscuits all set out that my wife did. A lot of that kind of cool stuff. And we'll see how that goes. The interesting thing about pets, though, and I see that Kenny Bedwell from SDR Insights just dropped in. We just did a podcast episode, and he dropped a lot of knowledge on my mastermind. A lot of people think pet friendly will move the needle for them, but it's market by market. And one of the interesting things is like I've got a beachfront property in Fort Morgan, Alabama, which is the only pet friendly beach, down in that area of the Panhandle. And literally from the data, moving to pet friendly from non-pet friendly is not very significant. I don't remember the exact numbers. As I was contemplating moving my property from being non-pet friendly to pet friendly, it's kind of interesting. When does the next episode of SDRnomics come out? I love it. That's Kenny. I'm sure you do. We got to record some more tonight, Kenny. They come out every Thursday, Kenny, just in case you forgot. Every Thursday, SDRnomics comes out. Everywhere, SDRnomics.com, and everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Have you subscribed, Kenny? You're very welcome, whoever that is. I appreciate you guys being here. Here we go. Do you charge a fee for pets or a higher rate and higher cleaning fee to clean for pets? I will allow 2 pets at this property. I am not limiting them based on size. I see the owners being the problem, not the actual pet themselves. So I'll do 2 pets and it's $150. I mean, and this is not a multi-million-dollar property. This is a $500,000 property. And it's just $150, whether it's a 2-night stay or a 7-night stay. And I'm just charging that, I bought some extra supplies like jumbo lint, brushes, extra 4X, 4X is a godsend for, urine, of pets and stuff like that. So just a few extra things for my cleaners. And then I'm actually going to give them an extra $25 every time we have a pet stay, just so they get into the groove of, making sure that they use the big lint rollers on all the couches and all the soft furniture and, that type of stuff, just to make sure it's perfect for the next guest. So I just want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I know it was impromptu. I typically don't do this a whole lot. I should probably do it more, but my family was out of town and, but now I got to go. I got to get some dinner and then get ready to film and record some SDRnomics podcast episodes with Kenny. Let's see. Okay, so trying to find, what is this? Do you think higher end properties will do better as the wealthier people won't be affected as much? I do believe that higher end properties will probably do better than your mid range. I think what's getting squeezed is the middle class. I think your lower range, your lower priced volume properties will continue to do well if you're in the right location. And I think the higher end properties will be okay, but I think the higher end properties are going to have to lower their pricing. I've lowered my pricing for the first time since 2018, lower than I've ever been. And it's not like ridiculously low, but it is getting more aggressive, specifically on Sunday through Thursdays. I try to keep, I went from 3-night minimums almost at all of my properties on the weekends, even in shoulder season, down to 2-night minimums. And I raised the pricing by 22% for those 2 nights. So that I can kind of make up a little bit of that delta for losing that other day. Can you give, yeah, I can post the link here for you. Let's see. Don't know who asked for that, but I just posted the link now for the boot camp. And I think we might only have about 11 or 12 tickets left for the super early bird pricing, just FYI. We have plenty of tickets left for the entire event, but I think we have 10 or 12 tickets left for the super early bird. That is November 19th and 20th. You can see on the link there. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. If you're watching this on the recording and you have questions, just tag me and I'll jump in and answer your questions. Happy hosting, everybody. See you guys later.